So let me first ask and request Mr. Mahesh Pradhan to give his views on role of environmental education for sustainable development goals.
And a couple of other things. So it's very impressive to be back at a conference on nature, relating to nature for SDGs. Yeah, I'd just like to start off and in terms of highlighting the role of environmental education for the SDGs, in the sense that we've moved from the MDGs 2000 to 2015, now to SDGs 2015 to 2030. There's been a huge change in the last 15 years, and I think this change is going on even faster. Yeah, one thing I was just reading about, and which is now coming up, is this whole issue of this new era, the so-called Anthropocene, where I think human civilization started way back, I think, with 570 million years ago, with the Paleozoic era, but now the current discussions, and I think this is with the International Commission on Stratigraphy, which is now going to debate a whole new era. The last one, which is ongoing, is this Holocene, which has been going on for 11,700 years. But now, perhaps, they're going to discuss the start of a new era, which is caused by humans, the Anthropocene, which is affecting our planet. Just a few statistics. Concrete. More than half of concrete, all the concrete produced was in the past 20 years alone. If you're looking at plastic, 300 million metric tons of plastic annually. So now plastics or microplastics is in virtually everywhere. Yeah? Oceans, waterways, so on and so forth. If you're looking at the land, even smaller area of Earth, now we have about 25% of ice-free land. And just, I think 3 centuries ago, this was 50%. So we've reduced this. And this is leading to species decline. If you're looking at nitrogen and phosphorus, yeah, so in our soils, it's been doubled. I think the largest nitrogen impact in the past 2.5 billion years. Like that, when the list goes on, black carbon, so on and so forth. But in this backdrop and this urgency, this whole SDG process and drawing on the 8 MDGs, this time has been negotiated, and as you heard from our Special Secretary, a long negotiated process that resulted in the 17 goals and 169 targets, where I think the common, or one of the most important factors that are different from the MDGs is this whole issue of universality. It applies to everyone, yeah? Not just the developing countries. So these 17 goals to everyone, but of course with the CBDR, the Common but Differentiated Responsibilities principle. The second thing is, with the 17, the integrated approach. Because earlier in the MDGs, we had social, very strong, the economics, and environment perhaps not as strong. So this time, with the 17, a more integrated approach. And at the same time, this gives us a vision for the next 15 years with an aspirational vision. So with UNEP, the United Nations Environment Program, we're supporting the environmental dimension of the SDGs. Yeah? But with the SDGs, and especially Goal 4, which is on education, where we've looked at the issues whereby education can make a difference for the SDGs. And here this morning, we already heard, I think, a lot of the key factors, values. This is something that education has a very deep impact from a small child to all of life. The values, the behavior, and the ethics of this lifestyle. And including, I think, on the lifestyle, which Kartikeya summarized from our honorary governor, where he especially mentioned this consumption, the greed lifestyles has to change. And in fact, we at UNEP, we have a program on the 10-year framework program, which is looking at education for sustainable lifestyles. we also have an opportunity now to build on this whole decade of education for sustainable development, the past 10 years, 2005 to end of 14, and the new Global Action Program. But this morning I just wanted to share just an example before I end my 7 minutes, to look at one of our key flagships within UNEP, where we're looking at engaging with higher education. So UNEP has been involved in a lot of scientific assessments. We have the IPCC we're working with. We have a brand new IPBES, not brand new anymore, the Intergovernmental Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. And in fact, Dr. Ashok Khosla chairs the International Resource Panel, IRP. So with that, we have the Global Universities Partnership, now about approaching 800 universities, looking at education and here curriculum. So with Professor Hela, we've been working on mainstreaming environmental education across the curriculum. We're looking at MOOCs, these massive open online courses, again, huge reach, but a lot of challenges, yeah, in terms of finishing, so on and so forth. We have a couple of them lined up. We're working on training programs for policymakers, and this is with different universities from Finland to Tongji in China. And last but not least, we're networking all these universities together. So yesterday we had a very interesting session. We had more than 50 participants trying to get something in India also, looking at a national network, and especially since India has a Supreme Court ruling for compulsory environmental education, yeah, at all the levels. So we want to benefit from that. And in fact, later this year, MIT will host our Groupus Partnerships Forum in Boston, where we're hoping that many of you can also join us. So in conclusion, just to mention, I think we're at a critical phase. The Anthropocene is on us. It is being debated at the highest scientific levels. We have a brand new opportunity with the SDGs for the next 15 years. The power of education has never been stronger in terms of behavior change, in terms of value, in terms of ethics, the skills, knowledge for green jobs, so on and so forth. And then there's a lot of opportunity, and this is where UNEP is focusing on higher education to look at promoting education for sustainable development, environmental education, and the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.